At Le Chêne, the silence in the private dining room was heavier than the crystal chandeliers. Billionaire Marwan al-Rashid sat opposite his daughter, Amara. She hadn't spoken a word in 6 months.
Just say something. Anything.
The waitress, Patricia, entered with desserts, unaware she was stepping into a wound. Marwan barely glanced at the dessert. His phone was a wall against the silence.
6 months of this vacuum. I remember this from the clinic.
Patricia knelt, took a napkin, and began to draw, a risk she had no permission to take. The first lines formed a cottage. No one stopped her. No one dared. Amara's gaze snapped to the napkin, her eyes fixed on the sketch, as if it were the first real thing she'd seen in months. Marwan's hand rose. But when he saw his daughter's focus, her first hint of presence, he let it fall, granting a fragile permission. Patricia added a thatched roof and a tiny chimney to the sketch. Amara's finger moved over the page, almost touching the lines, then pulled back like a startled bird. The screech of metal still haunted Marwan, the accident that stole his wife's voice and locked his daughter's on that wet road. Sophia's final sound was a breath her daughter never repeated before. There had been laughter in a field, Amara's small hand wrapped in her mother's.
I studied art therapy. Sometimes a picture can hold what words can't.
Don't upset her. She's broken enough.
He's terrified. But silence is a cage, and this might be the only key.
Patricia pressed on, adding a garden of wildflowers, her pen moving as if guided by a memory she couldn't yet name. Marwan's jaw tightened, but he didn't stop her. The drawing grew, and so did the fragile thread between them.
Why am I drawing this twisted olive tree? It's from a place I haven't seen since I was a child.
Amara's lower lip trembled. A tear slipped onto the tablecloth, the first soundless crack in her frozen world.
She's crying. My daughter is finally crying, and I don't know whether to pull her away or beg for more.
Plant marigolds by the door, child. They remember the sun.
Amara's finger touched the olive tree on the napkin, her hand trembling as if the paper held a living memory.
That twisted trunk. Where have I seen it? It lingers like a forgotten dream.
I am drawing her past now, but every line feels like my own history bleeding through.
The maitre d' appeared in the doorway, his glare a sharp warning. Patricia was risking her job with every passing second. Patricia ignored the silent threat and added a small birdhouse on a pole, her hand moving as if guided by a force she didn't understand.
Enough. She's crying.
These tears aren't hurt. They're recognition. She's remembering something I once knew.
A memory slammed into her, a real cottage with that same twisted olive tree, bathed in afternoon light, in a village she hadn't seen since childhood.
That's Lefkara, my grandmother's house. How does this girl know it?
Where does that picture come from?
It's just a memory from home, a place I visited as a child.
Amara's small hands shot out and clamped around the napkin, pulling it against her chest as if it held her mother's heartbeat.
A memory from home. There's something she's not saying. This isn't random.
Patricia added a stone wall to the sketch, her pen tracing lines from a past she'd left behind. Marwan's gaze flickered between the drawing and the stranger who seemed to know more than she let on.
Don't push me away. This is the only key we have.
The next evening, Marwan requested the same private room and the same waitress.
Finish the drawing, please.
He's putting his daughter's silence in my hands. I can't afford to fail.
Patricia knelt again, took the same napkin, and added a stone wall with ivy creeping along its length. Amara's finger jabbed at the window, then the door, her silent demand sharper than any word.
She hasn't gestured like this since the accident. She's asking for something.
The maitre d' stepped inside, his whisper a blade. You are here to serve, not to play therapist. This ends now.
If I stop now, she'll lock back inside herself forever. This drawing is more than a job.
She stays, whatever it costs.
A billionaire had drawn a line in the sand for a waitress, and the sketch deepened with a winding path and a gate left slightly open. Amara's finger tapped the cottage window again, insistent, as if demanding something hidden. Patricia hesitated, then drew a tiny heart carved into the wooden frame, a detail she'd seen once. long ago.
That heart. Sophia used to trace it on our kitchen table, laughing about the secret she'd found.
His hand shook as he snatched his phone, scrolling through a folder marked Never Delete. A photograph filled the screen. Sophia beaming, Amara as a toddler, and the same cottage window, the same carved heart.
How can you know this? This is my wife's photograph, a place she never told anyone about.
I don't know. I just drew what felt right, like a memory that isn't mine.
Amara's eyes moved from the drawing to her father, a flicker of connection crossing her face for the first time. Her small hand touched the heart on the napkin, then reached for the phone, trying to bridge the two worlds. In the dim candlelight, the impossible truth settled over them. This waitress had drawn a secret that belonged to a dead woman and a silent child. Marwan held the phone so Patricia could see the photo, the cottage, his wife's smile frozen in time.
That's my grandmother's cottage. The exact stone, the olive tree. It's from every summer of my childhood.
You know this place. You've been there. Tell me how.
Yes, it's where my grandmother lives, but I've never seen your wife before. I don't understand this.
A thick silence filled the room as two strangers tried to align worlds separated by grief and geography.
She knows the place, but not the woman. The only missing link is an old lady I've never heard of.
The only person who might know is my grandmother. I should call her. She might remember.
Her finger hovered over a contact labeled Mame, the one person who could bridge the impossible gap.
If she makes that call, I might finally understand my wife's secret world, or lose the last thread of hope.
The decision hung in the candlelit air, a single call that could stitch a broken past together or unravel the fragile hope they'd built. Patricia pressed the call button. The screen flickered, then Elena's face appeared, framed by the familiar kitchen of her childhood.
Patricia, you look troubled, child. What's happened?
Patricia tilted the phone so Elena could see the napkin, and the small, silent girl clutching it.
Little Amara. Oh, sweet child. You used to come here with Sophia. She was like a daughter to me.
She knew my wife. Sophia never told me about you.
Sophia found my garden one summer and never stopped visiting. She brought Amara here to laugh under the olive tree.
The napkin lay between them, its ink no longer random. It was the map of a shared love that grief had hidden.
A waitress, a billionaire, and a silent girl, all rooted in one old woman's garden. This is bigger than any of us.
Amara stared at the screen, as if searching for the voice that had once sung to her. But her lips stayed closed. The link was real, the history undeniable. But the silence remained, a locked door waiting for the right key.
She loved the wooden swing under the olive tree. I'd push her for hours while Sophia rested.
Her voice cracked into a hum. 3 notes of an old lullaby, brittle and sweet, drifting through the speaker. Amara's small body went rigid, her eyes widening as if the melody had struck a buried chord. Patricia's pen moved without hesitation. She drew a wooden swing suspended from the olive tree's strongest branch.
That swing. Sophia carved our initials on one like it. She told me she'd found a secret garden.
Amara's hand lifted, trembling, and her finger traced the air above the sketched swing.
Yes, little one. That's your swing. I kept it oiled, waiting for you.
Patricia added a tiny bird to the swing's rope, a final detail that made the image breathe. Amara's lips parted. The air in the room thickened. Her throat moved, but only silence escaped. The lullaby had unlocked something, but the words still hid behind a wall of grief. Amara's lips pressed together. She pulled back into her chair, arms wrapping around herself, as if the room had grown cold.
That was it. We pushed too far. The cage is closing again.
Marwan's shoulders sank. He reached for Amara, but his hand stopped short, trembling.
Not yet. She's still in there somewhere.
Patricia began to hum the same lullaby, slow and steady, her voice wrapping around the silence. Amara's eyes flickered to Patricia, her breath hitched, but no sound came. She added a tiny bird perched on the swing's rope, then set the pen down with deliberate care.
It's okay to remember, Amara. Your mom is in this picture too. She's not gone.
Marwan turned away, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand, his composure finally cracking. The drawing lay finished on the table, a bridge waiting to be crossed. Amara stared at it, trembling on the edge of a word she couldn't yet speak.
The first time Sophia brought you here, you ran straight to the swing. You laughed like the world was brand new.
As Elena spoke, Patricia hummed the lullaby and drew a delicate flourish on the rope, a curly tendril like a vine holding memory. Amara's hand reached out, slow and unsteady, and her fingertip touched the swing on the napkin.
She's right there, at the edge. Don't push, don't breathe. Just let her reach.
Amara's lips parted. Her mouth shaped a silent vowel, trembling, but the sound strangled in her throat. Patricia kept humming, her voice a thin bridge over the silence. Her eyes locked on Amara. A tear slid from Amara's eye and splashed onto the napkin, darkening the ink of the swing.
That's it. Piety Mao, you remember. You're safe.
The room held its breath. Marwan, Patricia. Even the candles seemed to burn without flickering. Amara's hand stayed on the drawing, but her lips slowly closed. The word hovered, unborn.
Sing it, Grandma. The one Sophia sang. Let her hear it.
Elena's voice rose like smoke, thin, trembling, carrying the melody Sophia had hummed on 100 summer afternoons. Amara's eyes locked onto the screen, fixed on the face of the woman who held her mother's voice. Patricia hummed along, layering her tone beneath Elena's, weaving a duet of memory into the still air. Amara's lips parted again. This time they moved, shaping the silent syllables of the song her mother once sang.
She's mouthing it. My daughter is mouthing the words. Don't stop.
The lullaby swelled from the phone. Amara's lips formed the word perfectly, but no breath carried it.
Please, let it out.
Her throat worked again, a tiny, strangled tremor, then fell still. The sound died before birth. Elena's song faded, leaving behind a silence heavy with the shape of a word still trapped. A terrible silence stretched, seconds bloated with the weight of a word still unborn. Amara's gaze moved from the phone screen to the drawing, to the swing, and her eyes hardened with decision.
Ya.
Her voice was a thread of air, but it carried the weight of 6 months of grief, a fragile, breathy sound that shattered the silence. On the phone screen, Elena's face crumpled, tears streaming as she nodded, her heart breaking into joy. Marwan's dam broke. A raw sob tore from his chest as he lunged forward, pulling Amara into his arms. He held her as if she might dissolve, his shoulders shaking with the sobs of a man who had been drowning.
She said it. Grandma's name. The cottage brought her back.
The napkin lay crumpled between dessert plates, tear-stained and sacred, a tiny sketch that had held an ocean of pain. Over Amara's shoulder, Marwan met Patricia's eyes and mouthed 2 silent words. Thank you. Patricia sat back on her heels, watching the father and daughter. Then she began to gather her pen and pad, ready to vanish. The napkin lay in a pool of candle wax, ink blurred by teardrops. She left it for them.
Wait, please.
His voice was a hoarse whisper. He gently settled Amara back in her chair, then turned to face the waitress.
Your name, after everything. I still don't know your name.
Patricia. Who's Patricia?
Patricia, you gave my daughter back her voice. I have no words.
He reached out and took her hand, his grip unsteady, his eyes holding a depth of sorrow and relief.
Thank you. From a place deeper than I knew I had.
Amara, still clutching the napkin, watched them with eyes that no longer looked empty. A faint light had returned. Amara raised a trembling finger and pressed it to the cottage on the napkin. Her lips moved silently, then parted. Mama. Marwan's breath caught. The cottage was where she had last felt whole, in her mother's arms.
My grandmother always said that cottage was a place where love never left. It stayed in the stones.
Elena's voice came through the phone, thick with tears and memory.
Yes, child. Your mama's love is still there, swinging under the olive tree. It always will be.
Amara pulled the napkin against her heart, as if holding the only photograph of a memory she could keep. Marwan took Patricia's hand again, his grip no longer desperate, but full of something that felt like a promise.
She found her mother in my grandmother's garden. That's more than I ever hoped to give.
The napkin, stained and creased, had become a map back from silence, a map drawn by a waitress who remembered. Marwan reached into his jacket, the billionaire's reflex to buy a solution.
I don't know how to repay you. A job in my foundation, a house, anything.
Patricia shook her head, her refusal softer than a whisper.
Just bring her to Lefkara. Let her see that the swing is real, that her mother's laughter still lives in that garden.
I promise. We'll come. I'll bring her there myself.
Both of you. I'll make tea, and we'll sit under the olive tree where Sophia used to laugh.
Patricia gave a small wave to the screen, her lips forming a grateful multimesk. Amara reached out and pressed her fingertip to the screen, a tiny smile flickering like a new flame. The napkin lay between them, no longer a sketch but a bridge. They rose as the candles guttered. 3 people who had entered as strangers now bound by a drawing and a whisper. Patricia knelt to meet Amara's eyes, the napkin still clutched in the girl's small hands. Amara's hand lifted, slow, uncertain, and pressed against Patricia's cheek, her first touch outside family in months. Patricia didn't move, letting the small hand linger, letting the gesture say what words could not. Then, with the gentleness of holding something infinitely fragile, Patricia drew the girl into an embrace.
After 6 months of drowning, a breath.
Patricia released her gently, brushed a strand of hair from Amara's forehead, and stood.
You be brave, little one. I'll see you under the olive tree.
She picked up her tray and walked to the door, her silhouette framed by the first light of dawn.
2 words. That's all they needed. A grandmother and a mother, living in a drawing.
The door clicked shut behind her. Outside, the world was waking up, and a silent girl had found her voice. Weeks later, a cream envelope landed on Patricia's doormat, her name handwritten in elegant gold. She opened it, and a small photograph slipped onto the table. You are cordially invited to Lefkara. Amara's birthday. She asks for you by name. The photo showed Amara, smiling faintly, clutching the napkin in a simple wooden frame. Patricia's fingers traced the invitation, her eyes suddenly wet.
Hearts heal where they are remembered, Grandma said, and she's remembering.
The old photograph of herself as a child in the same village seemed to glow on her shelf.
I am coming, little one.
She placed the invitation on the shelf beside the framed napkin, 2 mended corners of a world. Outside her window, the city stirred, but Patricia's thoughts were already traveling to a village where a swing still waited. The lane to Elena's cottage smelled of wild thyme and warm earth, the same path Patricia had walked in childhood.
Patricia, my heart knew you'd come. The table is set under the olive tree.
They embraced on the doorstep, 2 generations holding the same stubborn hope that had bridged a continent. A whirlwind in a blue dress burst from the cottage. Amara, braids flying, voice bright with joy.
I drew this for you. It's us under the olive tree, like your drawing.
Patricia took the paper and read the wobbly letters at the bottom. Thank you for my voice. Elena led them to the garden table where the swing still hung from the olive branch, waiting like an old friend. Patricia touched the rope of the swing, feeling the echo of 1,000 gentle pushes and laughter carried on wind. Marwan leaned against the tree, a quiet smile finally softening the angles of his face.
Come, the tea is ready, and we have stories of a little girl who loved to swing.
They gathered around the wooden table under the olive tree, Amara's chatter now a steady stream of simple words.
I have never heard a sweeter sound than her little voice, asking for more tea.
Marwan set down his cup, the clink barely audible, and turned to Patricia.
I want to fund an art therapy program in your name. So what you did here echoes beyond this garden.
Just bring her here sometimes. This place heals.
Amara slid off her chair and ran to the swing, her laughter ringing across the yard. Inside the cottage, the original napkin now hung in a simple frame, right beside the old photo of Sophia laughing under the same tree. The 2 images, separated by years, now told one story, a thread pulled from a waitress's memory that had sewn a family back together. Patricia stepped outside and touched the swing's rope once more, feeling the evening breeze carry the faint hum of an old lullaby. They stayed until the first stars appeared. A billionaire, a waitress, a grandmother, and a girl who had whispered her way back to the world. The others had wandered inside. Patricia stood alone in the garden, watching the cottage where every summer of her childhood still lived. Elena appeared beside her, taking Patricia's hand in her own weathered grip.
You drew more than a house, Copila. You drew her mother back to her.
I thought I was just a waitress drawing a picture. But this was never mine alone. It was hers, and hers before that.
Healing like this is a root that runs underground. I gave it to your mother. She gave it to you, and now it has bloomed for that child.
Through the cottage window, the framed napkin was visible, its ink now carrying the weight of 4 generations of women.
Art therapy was never a skill I chose. It's a language my grandmother taught me to speak.
The last light caught the olive leaves as she stood there, a waitress who had carried an entire legacy in a napkin drawing.
Now you understand why the garden always felt like home. It was waiting for you to bring her back.
Patricia let out a breath she hadn't known she was holding, and somewhere inside, the girl who once learned to draw from her grandmother finally understood why. The sun slipped behind the olive tree, draping the garden in a soft, amber glow. A small figure dashed across the grass. Amara leaped onto the swing, and her laughter rang out, bright and whole. Marwan and Patricia stood together, watching the girl who had found her voice among the olive leaves. The cottage itself seemed to exhale, every stone saturated with decades of memory and now one new whisper. Inside, the napkin hung on the wall, a simple sketch now holding a world of love. Beside it, Sophia's smile was frozen in time, her daughter's laughter now, the echo she had always deserved. A waitress, a drawing, and a whisper. That was all it took to bring a voice back. The stars came out over Lefkara, and the olive tree whispered its lullaby to the night. The napkin remained, ink on cloth, holding a memory that would never stop swinging. The cottage stood quiet under the stars, a guardian of stories, waiting for the next summer to bloom.